number 48 of On the Back Hash, where we talk about patriotic stuff and things and peoples and course and all that stuff. My name is Cedric. Join with me as always is Zach, Will, and Chris. How's everybody doing?
Good, man.
We doing?
I just like to point out that's probably the cleanest intro that we've had for this podcast.
In a long time.
No shenanigans. Hip hop anonymous.
We're just saving it for later.
I got distracted this time.
I couldn't find the number. I was like, "Where's it?" Oh, it's right there. Okay, 2.
I thought I heard you say it, but then I didn't even see it.
No.
Looked over and recorded.
It's always a mystery.
Yeah, hitting the button. But yeah, everybody's doing good. I'm still teaching camp.
I'm in PD mode now.
Yeah,
same.
That was me last week.
Yeah,
I'm done
training today.
I'm done.
By the time this episode drops, I'll be back in camp mode though. So
yeah, you'll be with me.
I will
make some kids do something. I don't know where
laying hammer down. Trying to make some kids cry.
Get back on Thursday and be like, we learned the whole
we
show.
At on the back hash, you don't condone anyone crying or getting pushed to the limit.
I don't care what he said. I have made at least one child cry 1 year every year that I've ever taught, and if it happens, it happens. It's not intentional, but these children will learn today.
We are all about positive reinforcement and growing the sport through positivity, through hard work and dedication.
I don't know.
Yeah, but a good butt whooping never hurts anybody. It never hurts. My kids are used to it. Like my perk kids, they're just like, we kind of like it because it makes us better. I was like, bless you, children.
I have not had one child quit on me.
Yeah.
Stockholm syndrome. That's what that is.
Yeah. It is what it is, man. You got to get work done somehow, some way. All right, so kind of going in this episode, we kind of have 3 shows to talk about. And I mean, that could be a topic within itself, is like having those 3 shows, because traditionally everybody would have been in Atlanta, kind of like San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
But for whatever reason this year, and there's speculations, and I have my theories, and I'm sure other people have their theories, but not everybody went. In fact, only 15 world-class corps, I think, competed at Atlanta this year.
Yes.
And so we saw a lot of your top groups were there, but you saw a lot of the mid to lower tier groups. They waited and went to Night Beat on Sunday. So how do we want to tackle this?
Well, I've got some things I'd like to say about the Friday show whenever we're ready to get to that.
But do you want to go ahead and get into that then?
Sure.
All right.
I'll do it.
All right.
All right.
Do I need to go get some water?
Listen.
Get the beat button ready.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Mother, it just.
The beat button. Oh. Yes.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Right. So there seems to be a trend going on this year with stadiums and DCI being at these stadiums. I really, really have a bone to pick with Murfreesboro. One, it's if you know us at all, MTSU and where our alma mater, we do not get along athletically. Love their band. They have a great band. They're cool.
Put the rivalry aside.
But this is not anything with that at all. But the way they run that show, now I don't know if that's DCI, if that's MTSU, I have no idea who it is, but this is the second year in a row where it has been an absolute crap show. There. And what happened Friday? One, they had the Suvi booths outside of the gates.
So say that again.
Yes.
They had these Suvi booths outside of the gates, outside the stadium. That's the first one. Okay.
Goodness.
So what you had to do was you had to think and worry, do I go to these Suvi booths first and then try to get in, which I'll talk about that in here in a second, or do I go during intermission where I have to leave the stadium, get stamped, right, and then go out to the Suvi booth and get back within what I think the intermission that during that night was like 30 minutes, something like that, somewhere around there. So that's the first thing. The second thing, open up your gates. Thank you. Open them up. There were literally, no joke, 2 gates open for general entry, right? They had a group ticket area, which was better than last year, where they had the group thing and people missed like 3 cores because they couldn't get in. So they had 1 gate open, which, by the way, the gate they had open was on the complete opposite side of where all the parking was. So you had to walk like almost a half a mile, 3/4 of a mile just to get to this gate. Then they have like 4 people taking tickets at this one gate. And the line, I'm not kidding you when I say this, the line wrapped around the stadium, right? And all they would have to do to fix this is as you're sitting in line, there are 2 more gates before you get to that other gate. And all you have to do is open those up and have signs or people standing there saying, you can't go this way, you need to go this way. That's all you would have to do, right?
Now, I will say, as a part-time ticket worker, you can have all the signage you want up, and people are still going to be people and not pay attention, and they all think they have to go to the same place. But you need more than 2 gates open.
Yes, that's my thing. Is that you need. Yeah. I mean, I know people can be people, right? They had 2 gates, and one of the gates, you didn't even know it was a gate.
Nope.
They had to like really scream at people to come down there to take tickets or whatever. So that was another one. The third one, which has happened 2 years in a row, is that their concession stands were unprepared for the amount of people that showed up that night. Thank you. Okay. So what happened? Now, I know one of these is true. The second one, I'm not sure. I heard it as I was going to the restroom. The first one is that they ran out of bottled water. That's the second year in a row that they ran out of water. Granted, it's a lot of people there, but it is the hottest day ever. People are going to want water, right? The second one that I have not found if it's true or not is that they ran out of all liquid, like Cokes.
Nothing to drink.
Nothing to drink.
Faucet
they were
water.
filling up cups with faucet water because they ran out of stuff in the concession stands. I don't understand it. I don't get it.
That's 2 years in a row for that one.
It's 2 years in a row. And then the thing is, we hear there was stuff that went down in San Antonio, right? I don't know what happened there. I'm not sure what that.
I think they ran out of some. They ran out of some food or drinks as well, or something like that. Their concessions was lacking.
And then I heard in Atlanta that the bathrooms ran out of toilet paper, right? Like they're all gone. Like this is, I don't understand. Is it just a disconnect between like these stadiums and these places that are taking where it's taking place and how many people actually show up? Like you would think, especially for Murfreesboro, they had it last year. Hey, we ran out of water. We might
have
want
it every
to.
year.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't understand it. It drives me crazy. because it makes the experience worse
Yep.
for people, because it was also 98 degrees outside. Now, I know they can't control the weather, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's July. It's going to be hot.
Yep.
People want stuff to drink.
And we had kids who
right?
left before the show started and missed half the show because they were standing in line to get water that apparently they didn't have.
Yep.
It makes it curious because it doesn't feel DCI has 100% control of it.
Well, and that
Yes.
I don't think they do.
And
No.
I don't think, and it's like they'll do the business of finding facilities to host shows and stuff like that, but the people of that facility care for the show or whatnot, or maybe
Like-
DCI has whoever official be there just to be there or whatever, but overall it's probably locals running the business, you know what I mean?
Like,
And
if I'm MTSU and this is coming back, I know the school is out,
like,
but if
yeah.
if I'm having every member that is going to be in the Band of Blue, their marching band, that is within an hour, I'm having them come and work to make this run smoothly because they just need more manpower. They need manpower taking tickets.
Yes.
They need manpower keeping people in the aisles or out of the
Like, it
aisles
feel-
during performance.
like
They need
especially
more
since it's a
concessions
band
workers.
thing. Yeah, like it's a band thing, so maybe they could, I don't know.
Mhm.
Hey, if you come do this, you can get this
Get
for
your Greek
your
organizations.
band or whatever.
Mm-hmm, yeah, I was about to say Farm Out.
And they don't even have to be
Yeah.
music Greek organizations. Get
No.
whoever sorority house down the
Something-
street and say, hey, we'll
Something's got
give
to
you
change.
$500 to come run this concession stand tonight, please,
Mhm.
or
'Cause,
whatever.
I mean, it ruins the
don't-
experience for people, right? When like you're miserable because one, they don't let you bring water in to begin with, right?
Mhm.
And so you're not allowed to bring anything in with you, which granted, I think you could have got away with it because they were so discombobulated at the gates that you could have just walked through with whatever you wanted to probably. And
Yeah, they're wearing
but then you don't have anything
or
there.
something.
Yeah.
And I'm not
like
100% sure how the profits work either. If it's 100% to the people or does DCI get a share? You know, I don't know that either. But you would think because you're bringing in all this attention, you know, it's like, hey, we need people to work this because
Mhm.
I know WGI gonna make sure somebody gonna be there.
Oh, yeah.
You gonna get them orange slices. So
Oh, yeah.
that's all I know is like somebody gonna be there to give it to you. So
and I'm not saying that I could run it any better. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is that, especially in Murfreesboro, in the era that we live in, that is like the show because there's no other show remotely close to this area for Tennessee and Kentucky. Unless you're like in northern Kentucky or southern Tennessee, you can kind of probably, Indianapolis is close, but that's a world championship. That price is outrageous, right?
Yeah.
Or not outrageous, but it's up there, right? It's hard to take students there. You can go down to Atlanta if you're in southern Tennessee. It's still a drive. So a lot of people come to this area because it's the only show that you get.
I'd be
around
willing
here.
to bet that show has the most high school bands in attendance of all of
it's
them.
got to.
Everywhere
it's
you look, you got
packed.
kids in their band show shirts. Like there are buses everywhere. There's kids
it's
wearing
like
cat
goal
ears
line.
everywhere. I mean, dude, there is high school bands goal line to goal line, even in the end zones, in the wedges, in the
Yep.
corners.
I
It's
wonder.
I
full.
just
I
don't-
wonder if
I
anything
don't
is
understand
being
it.
written to whoever to address it. Since this, I know you said this is what you said, second or third year in a row. Well, that's kind of a major issue because
It moved back.
the
It was
next
at Vandy. It was at Vanderbilt for a few years, right? It was there. And I remember we took kids there and we had no issue, right? They had concessions there. They knew what was going on. Now I might be blind and oblivious to some of the things that were going on. I don't know, but I know the kids that we took, we had no issues about getting concessions and the Subi booths and all that kind of stuff. But after COVID, we went back to Murfreesboro. It's like I don't know, man. But the thing is, it's not been an isolated incident because we've seen places, here, last couple shows that have had some some issues. So I don't know if they just don't realize
it's starting to
how
sound
popular
like
this thing is. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be willing to guess that the places are underestimating crowds, because I'm sure.
Well, no, I'm gonna be quiet.
I just want to say I'm about to get our AD for our alma mater. About to call him back. Listen, we need to try to get this show up here because we hold the state marching band championships that have just as many people there.
Yep.
And we don't have these issues. You know, there might be some other issues.
BRMB, it puts a lot of work into that as
exactly.
well.
So that's what I'm saying. So like that's why I want to know is like, are these places that are having these things, are they not, is it a DCI thing where they don't want, I'm not saying that they do this. This is just, talking, right? Is it they don't want those organizations working there? They want like an official third party thing?
I could be wrong.
Like, what is it?
I wouldn't think that they would turn down volunteer work to
so
help make their organization. I really do think it falls on the hands of the host.
Yeah.
Well, MTSU is not used to having a lot of people at their football games, so they're probably not used to having staff.
Pull the bias out. Pull the bias out. Stop.
Hit the button, Sid. Hit the button.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you finish, but we need to move on.
Zach, I thought it.
I'm gonna need to go get a popsicle.
I mean, I think it too. My thing is, it sounds bad, but
Western used to host a DCI show.
Yeah,
you guys
I remember.
Okay, I couldn't. You guys might be too young to remember that, but they used to host a DCI show. So, and then it went to Murray for a second, because they called it Drums on the Hill, and then it went to Murray and they called it Drums on the River,
in the middle of nowhere,
or something. I don't know what they call it.
Also, the stadium itself, it happened last year with Blue Coats. They barely got their props in. Crown couldn't get their whole table into the stadium, so they had to just use their small tables the whole time. Like, it just, I don't know.
But listen, I'm down.
I mean, a prop thing is a prop thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down for a petition to get it back at Western. I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
That's probably the most negative you will hear me ever on this podcast. I say that while knocking on wood.
Listen, man, if anybody's listening and hears this, and I mean, to me, it's a thing of placing a bid, sending some letters to DCI, talk to somebody. Like, if you want something to happen, man, you gotta learn. You gotta make it happen, because it could be a thing. It could come to Western, but somebody's got to say something.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't know everything. I don't know why. I just know that this is the second year in a row where it's just been not good from a fan perspective. The Corps are doing a fantastic job. Like, the show itself is good, but all the periphery kind of stuff is just not there. Which is sad. Like, I saw the Subi booth,
that stuff matters, because you're talking about, especially for y'all, I hear a whole lot of stuff up here from the South. It's just been hot for y'all. Yeah. And for me, I've been knocking on all kinds of different types of wood to make sure they don't have I don't want to deal with it. But y'all talking about all those people and not having any water or anything. Mm-hmm. Your next level is somebody going to pass out in the audience.
Now, they had water fountains, but not like the fill stations. But the thing is, a lot of people didn't bring water bottles in because they didn't think they could bring them in.
Yep.
And so that's the issue that happens there.
The thing out of all of it that's most disappointing is probably the amount of money that the Suvi booths lost out on with it being outside the stadium. I mean, you've already got Corps who are stretching every penny as far as they can get, and they need that Suvi money. And those kids are going to buy stuff. Believe me. Saw a kid walking around in a black Crown hoodie and it's 150 humidity. I'm like, I get it, bro. I get it. But it's not that serious right now. Like maybe a tank
but it
top,
is.
I get it, but
Oh.
no, I mean it's just, and it wasn't. That's not good. Good. It's not doing them a service if you're not putting it where it's the most accessible. And maybe it is more accessible out there because the lines for concessions were so freaking long. I don't know. But like we had kids who wanted to go, but they weren't sure they could get back in because they didn't have a physical ticket because it's mobile and it was all on our director's phone. So I don't know. I just hate it for those groups because I know there was a lot of money from the Suvi booths lost that night because it was somewhere else and not inside. And it's not like you had to walk through them or past them to get in either. They were just kind of chilling.
Yeah, they're like off on the side, which like when you're standing in line, you're like, oh, should I go or should I not? Like I've been in this line for a while. Yeah, it was just. I digress. We just spent 15 minutes on that, but
maybe.
I think it's an important. I think that actually is an important kind of topic because it seems to be ongoing, and y'all aren't the only ones. Especially Atlanta here recently just had some issues and stuff like that. But when you're talking about a show that's being consistent now with the same issues and possibly maybe getting worse, then that kind of stuff has to get addressed. So that's why I said something, DCI, because it just reminds me of one of the worst times I had in drum corps. We were housed at a school that was condemned. All it took was somebody to call in to DCI, and DCI literally paid for us to live in a hotel or to be housed in a hotel. They paid it. We didn't pay out of our pocket. They did. So it makes me feel like, okay, something's got to be said to them somehow, some way, however you got to send a letter, an email, message, whatever. And then maybe the ball can get rolling on somewhere, finding a better suitable facility or possibly seeing what is the problem at the Murfreesboro show that is causing this. Because this isn't because this, like I said, because when you started talking about it, and like I said, if these summers continue to do what it's doing, then you're now talking about health issues. Because that's all I see is somebody's going to pass out in the stands.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we saw it, a tangent, but when Zach, Sid, and I went to watch Team USA soccer go against Canada, it was hot that day. It was real hot. And we all got piled in there, and there's a guy like 2 rows down that just passed out because it was so hot. When you have bodies beside you, and it's hot and it's humid, when you can't get that sweat off your body, you overheat, man. Like, that's just dangerous. Like, I don't know. Like I said, you can't control the weather, but you know it's July, it's going to be hot. Like,
so that's just add-on stuff. So, you know,
but on a brighter note,
get passed along or whatever.
On a brighter note from the Murfreesboro show, me and Chris had the pleasure of meeting Mama DCI before it got started, and her husband.
How'd that happen? Like,
I DM'd her on Twitter and said, "Hey, we're here. If you'd like to meet up, absolutely. We're going through the ticket line right now." I said, "Okay, let us know where you're sitting." So we went up there to her and just kind of introduced ourselves because we've had some interactions with her on Twitter, and I'm assuming she watches or listens to the show. So just kind of went up there and said hi and interacted with her, and kind of got to know them a little bit and talked to them about their little tour they've been doing. And yeah, possibly gonna try and meet up again when we get to Worlds in a couple weeks, and say hi again.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, that was one that I wanted to meet for sure when we went to when we got to Indy, just make sure you cross paths. But that's awesome. I saw the tour list and I just forgot that she said she was going to Murfreesboro.
Yeah, she says it's the first time they've been down here in a little bit.
I bet.
Down in the south. But it was cool meeting her. It was awesome. Met her husband too. He's a really cool dude, and they just love drum corps, man. Like they're not kidding. Like, just love drum corps, and that's what's awesome. Is really cool seeing someone like that.
They're from. I think they said they go to. I think it's Phantom's concert in the park like every year or something like that. And they were talking about how they just always make it a point to go there, and then they kind of planned out this little road trip this year, and couldn't get over the humidity down here. She's like, I don't know how y'all do it. I'm like, well,
We
it's
don't
usually
either.
just for the month of July, and then it stops. But we complain about humidity, and in 2 weeks at Worlds, I'll be needing some long sleeves inside Lucas Oil because it'll be freezing
See?
in there.
Right.
So, but awesome. I'm glad y'all
Yeah,
got
that's
to
cool.
meet her, and hopefully I'll get to meet her in Indy,
Yeah.
along with some other folks. So if you guys already know you're going to Indy, man, like let us know.
Yes.
Maybe we'll get there at a specific time of like, hey, we're gonna be hanging out around here and doing that stuff. It's funny. I wore my shirt today to camp. Just like, you have a QR code on your back. I do. What does it do? I don't know. Scan it. See what happens. So
It's
yeah,
like, I do?
yeah.
I didn't know it was back there.
Of course, the percussionists all know, so they're like, "Ooh, I wonder where that takes us." Like, shut up, just jerks.
That's all the kids that we work with are like, what's your shirt do? What's your shirt do? I'm like, you got a phone. Look at it.
Scan it and find out.
Like, you know how that works. So
we were walking back to our car. It was me and Zach and my wife, and we're walking. And I don't know if Zach heard. I think you were kind of ahead of us, but the people behind us were like, I'm trying to time my feet with his feet so I can scan this or whatever.
I'm like, man, I'll stop, dude.
I did not hear that. I was on a mission to get back to the van.
Yeah, it was hot.
So cool. All right, so since we've been on the topic of Murfreesboro, we'll just kind of go through the placements. You guys were there, so you can probably, you heard it live, so you know kind of what's going on. So I'm just going to do a real quick just rundown. So at the Master of the Summer Games at Murfreesboro on Friday night, you had the Blue Devils first, Boston second, Crown third, Phantom fourth, Cadets fifth, Blue Star sixth, and Music City seventh. Blue Coats did a standstill only because they had a lot of members sick with this 24-hour stomach bug that's going around. So, fellas, I'll let you kind of give your takes about that particular show.
Well, a couple things. I wish I could have heard the cadets more, but their synth and quote speaker. If you were watching our watch party, I was talking about this, but their synth and quote machine speaker was like right in front of us, so that's all we got most of the time. We could hear the band every once in a while, or the core. Sorry, I know I said band. Sorry, I'm in band mode.
Here we go. They typing now.
Yeah, right.
We ain't hear nothing else in the show.
Don't see any woodwinds on the field. No, so, but from what we could hear, I mean, it's good. The show's good. The shout out, I feel like people are like, these are Music City homers, but that's that show is getting better. The core is getting better. It's just good to see that happening there. With that, I think you're going to see some good improvements. Hopefully they can retain a lot there.
Yeah.
Zach, you can go ahead and if you want to.
Blue Stars hits different live, and I think I said that I said that last year. And the show, after seeing it at Murfreesboro last season, was when I really started to become a fan of it. This year, it's totally different live. I don't like it as much as I did last year, but that's just personal preference. But the one that really cadets freaking just play, and I could not stop watching their feet. Like, you want to talk about technique out the, you know what? There, it was there. I don't know if it's because they got them fancy little leggings on or what, but the cadets, like that visual design, like
when you're wearing white shoes and that, I mean, it pops, and when you've got good technique, it shows.
But I think just Phantom's ridiculous. That's the real deal. It's not gonna win a gold medal, but that stuff is.
That's probably my favorite show of the year. Them and Mandarins, which is gonna be interesting to see. It's so good live. And
of course, Boston, when they bring out the whale tail, everybody lost their minds. I wish we weren't like at the 10-yard line, because I didn't feel Crown like you feel Crown when you're in the direct line of fire, and I missed that this year from them. And Bluecoats, they came out there and they didn't have to do that, but they came out and performed, and you could tell that they were playing at probably about 50%. Like it was a good music rep for them, but they weren't all in on it, and I get it because they needed to save whatever energy they had left for the next day down in Atlanta. So, props to them, and I know that's a tough decision for them to make, and I know it was disappointing for those of us that were there to not be able to watch and see it all. We had a girl in our group who cried, and we were like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "I just really wanted to see the Bluecoats." And I'm like,
She's
"Well,
like, I'm such a nerd."
I was like, "You'll get to hear them," but yeah, that's just yeah.
I'll also say, just piggyback off what you're talking about with Crown, that show is a lot better live because you see the story a lot better than you do on the TV. I mean, you can see the story, right? If you watch Mall all this stuff, but I feel like when you're able to see the whole picture the whole time of like what was going on with the story versus what the brass are doing and all that kind of stuff, it made me appreciate it a lot more because I remember early on I said it feels kind of long-winded. I don't know, all this kind of stuff, but like seeing it live, it really made it a lot better for me personally. So it was good to see, and yeah, and then Blue Devils just did Blue Devils things.
Yeah. I want to say Crown, it's got some punch to it, but I guess the word for that show is maybe finesse with them.
Yes.
Like just the I don't know, the small details and intricacies are what makes it so good. I'm not sure.
They don't come out and punch you in the face.
No, and I wish they would.
I really have to sit through and listen again. Because at the beginning of the year, I said about Crown that it felt samey to me. The same problem I have with them is the same problem I have with Troopers. Is this where the palette never, to me, the palette never really changes.
Mm-hmm.
Like the color palette never changes. It sounds like everything that they're playing is in the same key, and there's no stylistic changes either. So like, while they're doing all of this, for me personally, while they're doing all of this stuff great and executing it great, for me, it just sounds like that teacher that just talks at the same volume or same timbre the entire time. And after a while, I just stopped listening.
It's like a big run-on sentence.
Yeah.
It's a great sentence.
Yeah. And that's just, I think that's just my thing with it. It's just like, I'm not denying that they're playing the mess out of it, but it's just like, it doesn't keep my interest orally. And like I said, the color palette's the same. So there's nothing to make me want to, I mean, yeah, they got cool drill moments, but then after a while, it's just like, okay. So I don't know.
I wonder if they're going to have a best way to say this, it'd be a change. I don't know, like we're talking about the Crown, but like, I wonder if they'll do something like color wise, like if there's a change somewhere or something with that. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if they do or not. If
it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen this week because a lot of groups are taking a couple of days off and kind of staying put in one spot, and that's usually a sign that they're gonna be changing some stuff. Getting it ready for Allentown.
So, I know, Will, me and you, we noticed the sound quality from Flow for that particular show I thought it was outstanding. Like, I heard some stuff like Blue Devils during their ballad, especially at the beginning of it when they're setting it all up. Man, I never heard the acoustic guitar before that night, and I was just like, wait, what is all of this extra color that I'm hearing. And I heard it from all the other groups. And I know some of it was some music changes, which a lot of the music changes from a lot of chords worked really, really well for them. But I also just noticed some little tinkets and trinkets and little things throughout the show. At Murfreesboro, I was like, I have never heard this thing before. Okay, that's kind of cool.
That's why I tell people when you're watching something on TV or just any kind of screen in general, you on some levels you have to take it with a grain of salt. Because when Chris and Zach were talking about Crown, I was like, I got none of that because Flo sounded so crisp. Or not Crown, sorry, Blue Coast when they did the standstill.
Mm-hmm.
I got none of that from Blue Coast. I didn't feel what you feel in person because we always say it. It's like, man, it is night and day. That's why it's so hard to come down on judges all the time. It does, you'd be like, man, y'all smoking something. But real life and seeing something on TV really is that different.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, when I was watching Blue Coast, just like what said, I was like, God, dog, I have not heard this in this show. I've not heard it in this much detail. I don't know what Flo did. I don't know if somebody changed an EQ setting or whatever. I was like, I need Flo to keep it like this. Yeah. But everybody's show, man, was just popping with all kinds of stuff. I was even hearing stuff in like Cadet's show I didn't know what was going on, and Boston's show I was like, what? I was hearing BD's vocal stuff so much clearer, and I was just like, okay, whatever happened. I think what was the? I had it pulled up, but I don't have it anymore. This recent show.
Night Beat.
Night Beat was close too.
Yeah, I thought, man, me and you even messaged. I even messaged you, was like, I think Night Beat used the same audio that Murfreesboro did.
Yeah, they must, and I hope they did because, and I hope it gets like that closer towards finals too.
Oh, I think it will.
But man, that was a huge difference.
Yeah,
it was a huge difference.
That I was just like, okay, this is, and we know because usually we usually sit on the sideline for finals. So like being on the sideline, being that close, you hear a lot of intricate stuff. And I go to finals every year. I was like, I didn't know that they did that.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of cool. So, go ahead.
No, all I was going to say was, even though Blue Coast stood still, their run was just as clear as the ones marching. That's how clear that audio sounded. So, because I was going to be like, well, Blue Coast stood still, but I was like, well, hell, that don't even matter because, goddamn, Boston was the same way. I was hearing all kinds of weird stuff that I ain't never heard. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I don't even think it was because Blue Coast was standing still. I think it was just how whoever did whatever they did with the audio, man, was a genius, and I hope they stay on staff.
One thing I did notice before we move on to the Atlanta show, one thing I did notice about Boston, it's the smart, and people might not have paid attention to it, but there was a part where a trumpet screams, plays a screaming note, and at first it was just them screaming. I don't know if anybody caught it. They put a whale sound, timed with that scream.
Yeah,
I was like,
never heard it.
That's smart.
Never heard it before, and I was freaking out about stuff like that. I heard even more screamers from BD that I didn't know.
Oh my God,
they have so many.
There's so many in like big ensemble phrased moments, and they're just wailing. It's like one. I was like, okay. Where did y'all start doing it? Is this all new, or just have I not ever?
I think some of it's new, but yeah, I think they're trying to push. I think they're trying to push for the record because like you typically hear screamers, but like in their ballad when they're and they just that dude in the ballad just keeps going.
The whole time he just holds it.
He is pinching every orifice of his body. Nipples
he doesn't play another note.
Elbows in. Like
He doesn't
that
play
mouthpiece
another
in
note
his
the rest of the
esophagus.
show. Probably doesn't play anything up to that moment. And then when he's done, it's a wrap.
But I was like, where do all these screamers come from?
It's like they just walked down the trumpet line. You
got this?
You got a double G? No.
All right, cool.
All right, you got a double G? Yeah. All right, you're
All
good.
right, cool.
You're in.
Yeah.
It's like 7 of them.
Yeah, seriously,
half the dang trumpet line probably can do it.
Half the line.
I'm
You
like,
got a contra backfield. I got a double G.
Yeah, it's like
All right, you're in too.
And it's just pegged. They're just pegging it.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
all
what
right.
I will say. That's one thing, and this is just we can do this in general with BD because they played all 3 shows. But like their accuracy when it comes to those things is unmatched.
Yeah, they don't miss.
Unmatched. Their tone quality on it, and just
Believe the
the
word you're looking
center
for.
of the pitch, man.
The word you're looking for
Every
is
time.
unfair.
It is unfair.
Unfair, unreal, unmatched, inhuman.
Yeah, it's inhumane.
It's unbelievable
Get out the class.
how good.
It's boy.
right.
Competing in Class
Boy.
Blue Devils from Concord, California, the Blue
You
Devils.
get your own name.
Like, how are you going to compete in a class? All right.
Oh,
So,
yeah, keep going.
We could. So Atlanta was the next day. That was on that Saturday. Your rundown there, Blue Devils won with 94.325, 1.9 over second, which was Crown. Boston was third. Blue Coast was fourth, but we'll talk about why here in a second. Phantom fifth, Cadet sixth, and Cavies seventh. Troopers eighth, and Blue Knights ninth. Pacific Crest 10th, Spirit 11th, and Madison Scouts 12th, Music City 13th. And then there was a couple of all-age corps and all-age
One
and
open group.
Open group, yeah. I was like, what's the other class?
One open.
So yeah. So we talked about BD and Crown a lot. Boston's getting clean.
Mhm.
It's getting clean.
They
made
a music change right after the Dropkick Murphy section, and that completely made it a lot. It was a very smart change. I don't know if they've had that plan for a while or what, and it's not like super super noticeable. But if you've seen the show enough times, you're like, oh, that's different. But I like it.
It gave it a pathway to the next, like like it wasn't just stagnant, which is pretty good for them.
And then Blue Coast was behind them. They did get a 0.4 penalty. Everything I'm seeing is saying timing.
It was.
So without that, they would have been with a 92.375, which would have put them third, only 0.025. So somebody sneezed in the wrong spot of the show, blinked, behind Crown, which we will learn later got swallowed up. And we can talk about Blue Coat's Sunday run because I think their Sunday run was a lot better than their Saturday night run.
I agree with that.
Yes.
I think they're still kind of feeling it, that bug or whatever.
Yeah.
On Saturday.
Even with the hold on Sunday that they had, it was still good. So we'll go into detail about them in a little bit. The race for fifth. This guy.
We can talk about Night Beat too, because that goes into it as well.
The phrase I will use to describe these placements is clear as mud. I mean, every time we think somebody's kind of separated themselves, like the very next night, it's like, nah, just kidding.
Every time we record, we're like, I think Phantom's got it locked. Here comes Mandarins.
Yeah.
Oh, here comes the battle.
Here comes Cadets.
Here comes Cadets.
Oh, Pacific Crest, they're in. Here's Crossman. You know,
I think Blue Coats has got it locked right now. Here comes Crown again, and then like it's just like Jesus, man. Like,
but that's good, man. We've said this before. it's good for parity is good. That's why the NFL is king,
Yes.
because you never know what's going to happen from night to night. And right now, you got this thing between Phantom Cadets and Mandarins. Even though Mandarins didn't go head to head with those guys, those are three shows that are just they're all maximizing their shows to their ability, and this is literally how they place at finals is going to be who had the better run that night.
Yep.
If I was going to have between those three, if I was going to give a nod at the moment, of course it can change. I think it's Cadets. I think their show has more ceiling, higher ceiling than Phantom or Mandarins.
You can't go wrong with either three. You really
no.
can't.
And I love. That's why I said Phantom's my favorite show.
Yeah,
this year, but I mean, I think it's almost reached its.
I don't know. I wouldn't say that because I feel like I know what you were about to say. I think Phantom's gonna get it.
I love it.
They're gonna pull something like they did last year at finals, and it's gonna be that kind of show.
Now they did that what they did at finals last year. They're
already there.
That final show was special.
If they do that, who beating it? They are the most consistent one.
Yeah, it's so polished.
Everybody.
It's so polished. Like, they just, if they could just find that little something somewhere.
Something.
I tell you, did they go all 3 nights? No, they just went Friday, Saturday. They didn't go Sunday, did they?
No.
Okay. On Friday and Saturday, if you want to hear the loudest applause from anybody, it's that trombone player at the beginning of Phantom show.
Oh, they go nuts for it.
He played that, and I thought Murfreesboro was just going to blow up.
That was probably the biggest. Well, I'll say Boston was a really big ovation, but right behind it was Phantom. Like it was. That's how.
And I meant just that one moment. Like he does that. Yeah. He does that glissando just raunchy, and boy, I can't say what I want to say, but just
it's almost been night to night. Anytime that comes, I just expect it now.
Get a bucket. That's all I'm going to say. Just it's just I was just like, okay, they here, and they have you by the throat at that moment.
Yeah, and then they bring all the other trombones up there.
Mm-hmm. So I can honestly see it going either way. For me personally, it's like 1A and 1B for Phantom and Cadets. Mandarins is right behind them, but people love that show too.
That show's good too, man.
Yeah. You know what? And I literally just thought about this. I think people kind of view Mandarins as like what cavies were. That raw, unadulterated, just energy in your face core. And people are loving it. I mean, they got the slick look with the fedora. I think
they also have a little bit of an underdog feel to them. Like they busted into finals, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, Mandarins are here." And then like the next year, they were like, "Oh, but we're 10th." And it's like, "Oh, okay." And then they just kind of jumped up again, and it's like, "All right." Like, and people are hopping on that. People want to see them. Like, well, how far are they gonna go? Let's keep going. Yeah. Come on, Mandarins.
Yep,
I'm here for it.
It's a lot of good in that show too. Yep. Like, not my particular favorite, and I think it's because it reminds me of a couple of other shows, so I want to see things like that. But I'm not mad at it at all, at all, because they're doing it really, really stinking well.
Yeah, there's some good moments in that thing.
So
that would be my favorite block at finals, is that group right there.
Yeah,
that's probably gonna be my favorite.
5, 6, 7, and that's the thing we talked about. This one of them got to go on before intermission,
right?
That's gonna be the thing. Is whoever goes on intermission, can they separate themselves enough from?
Do you see the gap between that spot in like 8th?
I did. It's enough. I think Cavies. What is that block? Is that Cavies and Blue Stars that are kind of neck and neck?
Yeah, Cavies are kind of almost on an island right now.
Are they on the island? Did the island shift?
They're kind of. If you look at the power rankings or the rankings itself, Cavies are 9th. They're like a little over a point behind Mandarins and about a little under 2 points in front of Blue Stars.
Yeah. So Cavies are sitting. Now watch, as soon as I say this, some
I know. I told you.
So here we go.
Every
Cavies
time
are kind
we
of
record.
sitting right. Cavies are kind of sitting in that 8th spot right now. It's kind of nice and comfortable.
Which I will say, we kind of dogged their brass. Which, granted, they did what they did. But like the Atlanta show, their brass improved a whole lot, I think.
Yeah, that show's gotten a lot better.
Yeah, so kudos to them for doing that.
So it's gotten a lot better. I'm wondering how much just the type of show that they're doing, how much that's kind of limited them in some things. Even though it's not limiting the percussion because they won that contest again.
Check out Perk Talk episode 23 where Cedric and Will talk about the Cavies. Came out on Monday. Go check it out.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, you got the forward. Yeah.
See if I plug your asses again.
I was like,
I didn't have anything else. I didn't know that was the one that came.
it might be in the wrong sound, but
Guess what sound effect's not going into edit?
I mean, it's Perk Talk, and it's a drum.
Oh, there's a point.
Yeah. One for me, yeah. Yeah,
Where was that? Where was that? Where was that?
All right, and we move along.
So
this next segment is called.
Oh Jesus! So yeah, Cavies and Blue Stars kind of sitting in the same range. I think Colts and Troopers are they're still battling. Who knows what's going to happen with them?
It's going to be another one of those. Whoever has a better run at finals.
Yeah, it looks about that way. And then 11, 12, and 13 has gotten interesting because Crossman and Blue Knight said, we ain't done
They're going
yet.
the right direction.
But these averages are toit like a toigo.
Yeah,
if you look at the averages, Crossman are in 81.658. Blue Knights is 13th with 81.633, which is 0.025.
Sheesh.
Somebody thought the wrong thing. And then Pacific Crest is just a little bit behind that, 4/10 behind that with an 81.233. This is an average of their last 3 shows. So, we thought we had a battle on our hand. We just didn't think that was the battle. Crossman, Blue Knights, and Pacific Crest. They all 3 have their strengths, but they all 3 have like a thing that I'm just like, and just trying to get that worked out and figured out for them is going to be interesting. I think out of the 3, I like Blue Knights the most. It just seems a little raw and maybe a little disjointed.
I still don't know what that show's about.
Some chick
Blue Knights don't know.
Zach, don't even say it. Zach was about to say something. I saw that face.
Like the one time I didn't have a comment.
It looked like you're about to. But it's like what were we were talking about this? I think what were we talking about this, Zach? About the monoliths or whatever.
Yeah.
With
the Washington.
Was it the watch party we were talking about that?
Yeah.
I think you mentioned it in the watch party.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't understand what that does with how that goes with the theme of the show. Does anyone know? I don't.
I mean, is there
know.
anything connected to it? Like, are there any, I don't know, harnesses connected to it or anything?
No,
No.
I don't think so. I just don't. I don't know, and that's just me being ignorant, I think, and not looking into the show a little bit more, maybe. But I really just want to see Pacific Crest get in just for them to get in, honestly. But they're going the wrong direction, so, or they're not going the wrong direction. They're just not growing fast enough to keep up.
We watched that. When we watched that show on when we watched that show during the watch party, we said that it felt like it was missing something. It felt a little flat. We did say that. Mm-hmm. And we thought about the humanity, but then Cadets came out and put all that to rest. So, I don't know. It's lots of good things happening in the show, but it's almost one of those, if it's not on,
it ain't on.
It ain't on.
Mm-hmm.
And that could cause some problems later on. So, Crossman, I mean, it's there.
It's the same thing we say every time. Like, they get in the finals, you know, that's great for them, but like,
a lot better
the shows just don't hit. Yeah, it just doesn't hit. That's the thing. I don't know.
I don't know. I need to see it again, like fully again. I think I missed it when they performed last time. I think I was doing something.
They were at Nightbeat, right? Yeah. I guess we were watching it the other night.
So, and then sitting below them, you got average wise. You got Madison Scouts still improving. I'm believing to think it's just some design choices that are holding them back a little bit. Spirit.
Come on, let's talk. Let's talk right now.
Let's talk. All right.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
We all went, oh!
Yeah. Yeah. They do a move at the end of the show. And I just was like, so we were doing a watch party if you weren't a part of it. And like my feed, for whatever reason, was ahead of theirs by like, I don't know, 5-10 seconds.
30 seconds.
6 minutes, yeah.
Of the show itself.
So I'm sitting here, we're all sitting watching, and then like on my screen, they do this really cool sound effect with a really cool visual. And I was like, oh, that was really cool. And I was like, oh. And it was like, what? I was like, nothing. And I'm sitting here watching the sequence in my brain like, this is really stinking cool. And then 15 seconds later, they had the same reaction that I had. They're like, oh, that's what he was doing. Yeah, like, yeah. Man.
I'm telling
you, they can clean up some stuff.
They got somebody on that staff that's like, so when I marched Tilt, we had and they're like, yes, it's in. I don't even care what we have to change, it's in. And they're doing the thing.
Yeah, they are
awesome.
What about
that's a GE moment, man. If it's just right along with their show.
That's like,
so freaking
That's
cool.
now my favorite moment of the show. It just replaced the part where they play the music from Up.
Yeah.
I love that.
It's good too.
I freaking love that soundtrack, period. But when they played, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
They're on a list of some of the smartest music choices this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can put that on MP3 and just go.
Yeah.
Ain't even got to look at it.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of shows I can do that with.
While we're on the subject of smart changes, let's talk about Colts.
Okay.
They added in those voiceovers at the end of the what's his name? The announcer guy. I can't.
Oh, do you talking about Dan Potter and Brent
Yes,
Brent
yes, they
Carson?
had their direct voice, like talk about, these kids have traveled a lot of miles this summer to bring you this product, and like announcing and like just adding that in, because up until that moment, and I said this yesterday, up until yesterday, that show was that the Colts were where the heart is, but them adding those voiceovers of Dan Potter and yes,
Grant Crocker.
yes. Adding their voices in now makes that show for the audience drum corps home.
Mm-hmm.
Like that immediately connects you, and you're like, that's what we've been looking for because that show is great for them. Like I'm all about it. Like given the address of the Corps in Dubuque, Iowa, like that's freaking awesome. I love that stuff. But now you got me in.
Yeah,
Now you connected me, and that was
they.
probably the best change they made.
I agree. It was finally Minuano's locking in. Thank you for
Yeah.
that. Uh, but like that, like you said, those quotes just kind of took the show to a different emotional level.
Yes.
And it just made stuff make sense. And it sucks that you have to hide that stuff, you
Yeah.
know, because you don't want to throw all your eggs in a basket too early. But
hmm
it's just like, man, that's it. And I think those two, I think Coats and Troopers are going to be trying to figure out what thing they're going to try to pull every ounce of this show that they can to pull this out, to pull out a higher placement over the other group. I really think it's competition is driving those two groups to be excellent, and I'm here for it.
It's a good competitive, like it's a healthy competition that's happening between them. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm here for it. Overall, Blue Coats. Let's talk about them real quick. I thought much better run, like I said, Sunday than they had Saturday. I love all of the music changes that they're making. It's just some added suspension chords to the end of some phrases, and then they took out some suspension things as far as like just holding notes, and they did some like more like echo sonar type of things with the brass. Which there was one phrase that they had that it was a sustained note, but then they did this little echo type of deal and decrescendoed out of it. They did this. There's a lot of really cool things, and they're not done. They're not done. That ending is going to be something completely.
100%. You can tell they're setting that up.
I'm here for it.
Completely different with.
I'm here
Like
for
everybody's
it.
like uniform change. Like I don't know how they're going to do a uniform change. I don't think a uniform
I
change
don't
is
think
happen.
so.
But
I just want to see them just do some crazy drill. Just go ham for like, because there's people out there that don't like the direction they're going with what they're doing. I just want to see them be like, okay, here you go. Just a whole mess at the end there. That'd be awesome.
Not to get into this topic just because we're already sitting at an hour too heavy, but like I think people are looking. First of all, Blue Coats ain't afraid to do what they want to do. Let's just get that out of the way. And I think that's one reason why I like them so much is they push the envelope of artistry and artistic expression in a drum corps show. And for me personally, I like it because I'm not hearing the same 4 or 5 songs from them. They make me dig into a library. And with this particular show, with this particular poem, and what some people transcribe it to be, some people don't like it because they think it might be trying to say something or tell a story. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, there's not to give you a music lesson, but like there's 3 purposes of music. There's ceremonial, recreational, and artistic expression. Sometimes they're just doing stuff to give their interpretation of what something is. It doesn't necessarily mean they believe whatever they're performing. It's just an artistic representation of what they think this might be. Like, stop trying to make something that is what it is. Like, don't.
That's the great thing about art is that it doesn't matter who you are. You can be a different person and have a totally different take on how or emotion on that piece of music. You know, that's just how.
I mean, for
how
them,
art works.
This is 2 years in a row for them that they've taken some form of literature and literally taking it out of your brain as you listen to it or read it and putting it in front of you.
Yeah.
And like live playing it for you.
It's like their interpretation of these things, and I'm here for it because here's the cool thing about it: Blue Devils could do that same show and it looked completely different.
They're doing their interpretation of freaking
cutout
scissors
art
and paper and Elmer's glue.
You know,
but ain't nobody complaining about them.
Well, it's because some people's like it's a religious undertone. Listen, I'm religious; it don't bother me none. I'm not thinking about it like that. It's like,
girl,
just enjoy the product for what it is.
Thank you.
You know, and it's a really good product.
And they're about to get second place.
I hope so. I hope so.
Suck it.
Let them have a clean run. And that's the thing; they're taking risks. And boy, when it clicked, they better not hope it click on finals night.
And all y'all Karens can take your "may I speak to the manager" haircut and go on somewhere.
But like I said, you know, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. That's fine, but don't cut the kids' effort and ability short because you don't like what they're doing.
Ding, 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 ding.
Where's it?
Hit
the button.
Do I need to button myself?
Yeah.
You guys are literally making it so hard for me to edit this video. I don't think you understand how difficult this is about to be for me.
You got this. But yeah, so
man.
I'm here for Blue Coats. It's probably my favorite show of this year. Like I just am a fan of how they do things. I really am.
It's called the Garden of Love, not the Garden of Hate, y'all.
Preach. So, but I like what they're doing, and they beat Crown at Night Beat. So,
sure did.
See that, but 2, 3, 4 is going to be all over the places. 2, 3, 4 is going to be all over the place. 5, 6, 7 is going to be all over the place. Cavies are like, yeah, we just going to do what we do. Coach and Troopers are going to flip flop.
We need to talk about this. It's good. I'm going to make a little note here that there's something that would be really good to talk about after the season because we're already over time, like big time. But this is a good topic over the season, after the season's over, to discuss.
Okay.
I'll clue you guys in after we get done, but it's good. I think.
Okay.
So,
I've had some thoughts too, especially about some of those cores out west, and Vanguard not being there. I wonder how much of that talent got spread out. And maybe that's why we're seeing Mandarins kind of doing Mandarin things, and BD maybe being a little bit stronger than they typically are. I'm wondering if a little bit of that, man, a little sprinkle of SCV and got infiltrated in some folks. We'll see. But yeah. So, all right, real quick, Zach, when to watch?
Oh, you already know. It's the DCI Eastern Classic in Allentown.
Which one? Which night? Which night do you prefer to watch?
In the mic, right?
I'm sorry, I was too close.
I think I think the juicier night is going to be Saturday because you've got Scouts and Spirit both there, and as of tonight's recording, Spirit just put 1.5 points on Scouts. So you got that. Then you got Mandarins and Cadets and Phantom, all three, right there. Boom, boom, boom.
There you go. That's what we want.
And then Boston and Crown. I think those are 3, 4 different little matchups there that are quite juicy.
How did they get 5, 6, 7 all together in one night? Is that the whole regionals, like what we were talking about the other night?
Maybe.
Like how they decided that? Because
Don't know, but
that's crazy.
that's
I'm
the
all
way
for it though.
the cookie crumbles.
So
yes, DCI Eastern Classic, Allentown, Pennsylvania. The historic, was it J. Burney Crumb Stadium? Gates open at 5 Eastern Time. National Anthem at 6:30 Eastern Time. And then
I'm sure it'll be
it's
on the
going
flow.
down.
So there it is. Make sure you're watching Allentown. We may do another watch party. Man, listen, that was a good time.
It was fun.
That was the quickest 5 hours. There's no sarcasm behind that either. It really was. I looked up like, this show's almost over. We've been live for 5 hours. So yeah, we've been going over an hour. The past 3 episodes.
We are pushing it hard right now.
So, but yeah, that was a good time. So we'll probably do that again. We'll set out a poll and figure out which night you guys want to watch and all that good stuff. I do have a family reunion Saturday, so if y'all do it Saturday, I may not be
family reunion. Who we introducing?
This my cat. All right. So let us know down in the comments below what you think about the season so far, what's going on, your favorite moments of the season or of this podcast, because we're fools and we act dumb. In the comments below. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also find us on Spotify. So, but yeah, lots of good stuff, man. 2 weeks left, man.
It's crazy.
It's going by so quick.
I mean, 2 weeks, we're going to be in Indianapolis. Let's go.
Yes, we will be.
So excited.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So, nobody has anything else? This has been episode number 40 of On the Back Cash. My name is Cedric. For Will, Zach, and Chris, hope all of you guys are having a lot of fun this summer. Take care of each other. Stay cool because it's hot.
It is.
It's really hot. Drink some water. Get a big old hat. Cover yourself up. Wear sunscreen. Or get melanin. I don't know. Melanin works there.
Hey, we peel too.
I mean, we do peel, but not as much.
Not as much.
Not as much. That lotion and baby oil.
It takes longer.
That cocoa butter.
Listen, if I put baby oil on my skin, I will look like a tomato. If I sunlight with like.
I use the baby oil with the cocoa butter.
Ah, okay, there you go. That's what it is.
The cocoa butter. So yeah. Anyway, from us to y'all, take care. Have a good night, and we are dut out.
Out.